I don't want to lose $1. And, part of what makes people is their background. And, I came from a background where, to get spending money or do anything, I had to, like have jobs. I cut lawns, I shoveled snow, and then I recruited my brothers to do it. And, I kept half of the profits. That lasted a few years before they realized they could do it all. And I always did things. I sold light bulbs door to door. I sold stationery door to door in college so I could get a KLH stereo. I did all kinds of things. And when you do stuff like that, you really never want to lose your money, because then you just have to keep doing more. And that's a huge effort to knock on somebody's door. You don't know what's going to happen. You only do it because you really want to be successful. So I'm not a believer in going backwards. It's not something I endorse. I only like to go forwards. And so I worry about, sort of making a mistake, any type of mistake. And part of the culture at our firm, it's a little different than most, is the first rule is don't lose money. I know this sounds primitive. You don't have to go to Harvard Business School for this. But if you have a philosophy of trying never to lose rather than how much you make, you always end up making a bunch on interesting things. But if you don't have a downside and you only have an upside, and you're in a growing economy, which is where we operate, and you do it on leverage, you'll make very, very high returns, and we have. And so it's a pretty simple model. We had one where we lost $1 billion. We bought a significant percentage of a telephone company in a European country, and we were partners with the government, who had the largest share. We had the second. We had a whole transformation project to have that company do much better. It used to be owned by the government, and we agreed on it completely, and we would have made a very good return. And then there was an election, and the government basically said, I'm sorry, I know I told you I wanted to do all these things with you, but I'm not doing it. And, this is a big country with famous people. And you go over and you sat down with them, and you said, but you told me. And they said, well, things changed. So we lost almost all of our money on that. Learned a lot. One, when a government tells you something, it doesn't mean they're going to do it. At that moment that they tell you they want to do it, but future circumstances can sometimes lead them to change their mind. Sometimes in places in the world, changes of government lead to a new person showing up and say, I don't know why anybody ever agreed with you with that. I'm just canceling that. And so the lack of predictability in dealing with governments is surprisingly high. Secondly, having partners on things can also be a danger, because sometimes they can block something that you think is good to do that they've already agreed on. But if they have a change and you don't have enough influence, you can end up in a very bad place. So every time you lose, you learn. And it's unfortunate that those are the best lessons. They're usually expensive.